It's really weird because it's crocheted, but then the sleeves are knitted. Anywho, we're not gonna dive into that today. Alright, it is that time of year when I make my sweater for my birthday. Also, I do want to say, if you are new to my channel and you like sewing, thrifting, crafting, and of course, I mean crocheting, please subscribe. I am trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I am currently at 40,000, and I am very grateful for all those who have subscribed. Anywho, let's get right into this video. I like making something special for myself during my birthday. This year, I'm actually not going to be designing anything. I'm taking inspiration from one of my favorite games, and that is Animal Crossing. Now, I have been playing this game since the GameCube version. That's a really long time. When, you know, Animal Crossing New Horizon came out, I was addicted to that game, and I still play it to this day. Like, I still love the game. I wish they would add a little more things to it and maybe keep it updated a bit more, but anywho, I still love it. And so, for my birthday, I've decided that I'm gonna crochet myself the mom sweater. This is my little character wearing the sweater. I've always wanted to make it, and I've seen other people make it, and I think it's about time that I make it for myself. Now, this project, I feel like it could be pretty easy because what it looks like is just a bunch of granny squares and then red sleeves, red trim, cuffs, turtleneck kind of thing, all that jazz, which I feel like I'm very capable of doing. Now, the only thing that I want to be like very precise on this project is the colors. I want the right colors. So I went out and I bought a bunch of yarn, because here's the thing, no matter how much yarn I have in my yarn stash, it's never the right colors I need for the project that I'm going to work on. Just putting it out there, I do have a few of the colors, so that's great. When I mean a few, I mean like 3. What is nice about this is even though there's a ton of colors, each square is not a brand new color. There's like colors within other squares, if that makes any sense. And I think a few of the squares do repeat themselves, which I am very thankful for. I have a little photo here just to make sure that I've gotten the right colors. Now, there is going to be a few little things I am going to change, because on the sweater, it looks like there's like 2, and then it goes into the sleeves, and you know me, I like big billowy sleeves, such as the one I'm currently wearing, which is my last project, and if you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out. I'm actually going to put 4 across, because I feel like that's going to fit me better. I'm going to have to probably make, I think, 4 new squares. Anywho, let's go over what yarn I'm going to be using. Now, if you had watched my Demogorgon Halloween costume crochet video, then you'll know that I had mentioned that I had bought a red for another project. This is that project. The main color is going to be this color here. It is Pound of Love red. I think it's just red. I'll have to double check. The sleeves, the cuffs, the in-between borders of each granny square. This is the color that I'm going to use. I have a lot of it, but then also, here's the thing. I don't like pulling yarn from the center of a skein of yarn. This is what happens to me when I get close to being done rolling them up into balls. So yeah, I gotta do something about this. But anywho, we're moving along. A few of the colors that I have bought. These ones I didn't actually buy. There is an orange in the sweater. I don't know what orange I'm going to use yet, depending on how everything looks. I have this more of a pumpkin orange, and then I have an orange crush orange, which is the same orange that I used for this project. Actually, this skein of yarn I bought for this project, and then I didn't end up needing. So I have orange. There was 2 different colors of green. Unfortunately, I like buying green yarn. I buy green yarn, but I buy not the yarn that I need. Like, I buy like cotton, and I buy wool kind of green yarn, like fun, you know, yarn that I wouldn't necessarily use for a big project like this. And this one here might look a little familiar if you watched my jack-o'-lantern sweater video that I made like a year ago, and this one here is called Guacamole. I love this color. And then this one is called Kelly Green. I am not gonna be needing this much yarn for the project, but unfortunately I didn't even have like a little bit in my stash, so had to buy the whole thing. I'm also going to be using this color here. It is Coral. It is also from this project that I had bought in this yarn and never needed it, so I have that color. There is a white, so I will be using this. This is the Pound of Love. What happened to that red I had? This came from something that looked like this, and I love this, and this is an antique white. So it's not white, it's antique white. When I went to Michael's, unfortunately, they didn't have the blue colors I needed. They also didn't have the yellow color I needed, unfortunately, because I think I've mentioned this in a video before, but there's like 3 loops and thread yellow. One is like called Sunny Day, one is called Butter, and then there's lemon, and it's right in between, and I needed the lemon, and they didn't have it. So I made a trip to Walmart, which the Michaels that I go to, the Walmart is literally like right across the road. Didn't have to go too far for that. So I bought Bernat, and the color is called Yellow Balloon. And I don't have this yellow. I always have like a pastel version, and then I have more of a golden yellow. So I needed a yellow. And then again, I don't buy blue. I don't think, I'm looking over at my projects. I think there's one project that I did that I needed to buy blue for, and that was it. I got this one here, which is also Bernat, and this color is baby blue. And then I bought this blue here, and they did have a very similar blue at Michael's, but it was too navy royal blue, and I needed something that was like just the generic blue color. And this brand is Mainstays. Is this like a Walmart brand yarn? I've never used this yarn, but it is what I need. The color, oh, it's just called Blue V. I don't know if V is even part of it, but it just says blue. And then I did borrow some yarn from my sister, so these are in her stash, and they're just both impeccable. I'm not too sure what colors they are, just in case. Because again, I don't need a ton of yarn for the square. Like, I need yarn for the squares, but I don't need a ton of yarn of each color for each square, if you know what I mean. That's pretty much it. I have all the colors, and now I just need to make a little grid, or a little, like, write it down what color goes in what square and how many squares I need to make of each design and all that jazz. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all the squares first, put them together, and then figure out how long I need the sleeves, because for the sleeves I'm just going to do a half double crochet. Like, that's it. I'm not going to go beyond. I'm just going to do a half double like I do for all of my cardigans and all of my sweaters when I have to do the sleeves. It's just easier that way. And yeah, that pretty much sums up what I'm doing for this project. So it's time to start this project. All right, I am finally starting the project. So it turns out I only need to make 2 of each square, and there's 12 squares, so I need to make 24 squares. That's not too bad. I also have to remember how to make a granny square, because thinking about it, I love granny squares, yet I don't think I've made a granny square anything since 2021. Maybe 2022 when I made that balaclava. I think that was it. I think that was the last time I ever had to make a granny square for a project. Anywho, I gotta remember how to make a granny square. I remembered how to do it now, so that's good. To be honest, like, these colors aren't like my absolute favorite, but I have to trust the process, and hopefully everything goes well together. I do like this red though. The red is really nice, and I really like this green, and I kind of want to do something maybe Christmassy with the green this year, so we'll see. This is one square. I now need to make 23 more squares. Totoro, what are you doing? Can you not do that? Can you not eat my yarn, please, and thank you? I am now on my last square, and I was really kind of hoping that this color combo would work out, but I really don't like it because, again, I had to make 2 new squares using the colors that I already had, but not, you know, duplicating one of the squares. This is the one that I did make up. I switched it out. Originally I wanted red here, but I think like blue red kind of would be too much, so I swapped it out for orange. I really like it because orange and blue always look amazing together, especially like orange and like this teal color. Love that. So this is the one that I made up, and now I'm working on this one, but I just don't like the color combo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over, and I'm going to do green, then this coral pink, then white, and then the red border. I think that would look a lot better. Now I'm going to show you how I made my granny square blocking board. For this project, I decided that I wanted to make myself a granny square blocking board. So I headed to Home Hardware and I bought myself this pegboard. I was kind of hoping that there would be some type of wooden pegs, but I didn't see any, so I ended up buying these dowels, and I'm going to cut them. And I mean, I'm going to cut them. I mean, my dad is going to use power tools, and he's going to cut them because I am too afraid of the power tools. The dowels were cut into about 6-inch pieces, and then I did my best to sand them. And now it's time to block all the granny squares, which was actually like a really fun process. Now, what I forgot to show is that my dad actually cut the pegboard in half. So I stacked them on top of each other. That's why it's kind of hard for me to get these pegs in. Because the pegboard itself was not actually thick enough for the pegs to go in and like stay up nicely. That is why I doubled it up. Now, in the future, I do want to glue both of them together, so then that way they're just one solid piece, and I might even paint it. I'm not sure yet. What are you doing, Totoro? Little face. I'm trying to crochet right now, and you're just sitting on me. Okay, yeah, sit right there. It's a good spot. Yeah. Oh.
Look how cute she is. She's just a little baby. Yeah. Oh.
I have let these sit for 2 days. See how nice and square that is compared to what it was before. Probably didn't need to let it sit for 2 days, but it took me 2 days just to work on the arms, so I just left them. But now the arms are done, and now I have to figure out the pattern that they go in because they go in a certain pattern. I'm gonna take these off and then plan out where they need to go. What's nice about this is I can just take the pegs out. Because the last renditions I've had of this, if you've been, if you've watched my channel for a while, is that I would have a board and I would put large nails in it, so I couldn't take the nails out. So this system is pretty handy. All right, and then these are the two that I had to create. So I think I want to put this one here and I want to put that one there. Just pointing out, this would not be the color combos that I would technically pick. Like, they're great, but like this one here and this one here, they're too similar. The only difference is that this one's pink and this one's orange, but because I'm trying to be as accurate as possible, I'm following what they did. I also wouldn't put these two next to each other because this has a center of that teal blue and this has the center of the teal blue. And then I wouldn't put these yellows next to each other. I mean, like, this whole row just has a bunch of yellow in it. I wouldn't have done that. Now I have to put them together. Also, it is going to be a smaller sweater than I am used to because, I'm following the thing and I don't want to make any more squares because if I made any more squares, I'd have to add a bottom row and I don't really want to do that. This is pretty much going to be like the car sweater. Y'all remember this car sweater that I did a few months ago? So I actually had to go a little bit longer in the arms than I normally do. This is where we are right now. Personally, I would add another row at the bottom, but again, I want to be very true to this. I don't want the ribbing to be this long. Like, I don't want the ribbing that long. The ribbing down here is 13. Usually I do 10, and that's like way too much ribbing. So I think what I'm going to do to make it look a little bit better, if you look at it from the top of the granny square to the shoulder, someone crocheted more. It's really weird because it's crocheted, but then the sleeves are knitted. Anywho, we're not gonna dive into that today. I'm gonna move, which means this is more work for me, but it's fine. I'm gonna move all of these squares down. I'm going to attach all the squares together. And then what I'm gonna do is up here, I am going to crochet 4 rows, and I'm also gonna crochet 4 rows on the bottom. So once the pieces are together, I'm just gonna do some single crochets, and then I'm going to attach the 2 pieces together and attach the arms. So today, I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna attach all of this together because I feel like that's the main objective, is to attach all the squares together because that might take a really long time. Backside and the front side are the exact, they're just reversed. And then I'm gonna do some single crochets on the bottom, single crochets here, like on here. I'll show you when I get to it. Then I can attach everything together. I know I am talking way too much, but that is the plan. I don't know how I do this to myself every single project. It's supposed to go like this, and I sewed them like this. But what's great is that they're granny squares, so I can just put the ends that I didn't weave in on the other side and act like nothing happened. Last night, I attached all of them together. It actually did not take me as long as I thought it would. And then I decided that I was just gonna block it for the night just to get it a little bit more straight. Take all these out now. This is what I'm going to be working on today. I'm actually going to be adding 3. So I've done 2, well, it's technically 4 rows. So I have to do 6 rows. It's just when I say 3, I mean like that's like 1, but it's technically 2. So I'm going to do 6 rows. I've already done 4. I need to do 2 more up here. And then I'm going to go on the bottom here and I'm going to do 2 more down here. And then I think what I'm gonna do, just to make it look a little bit nicer, is on the edges here, just so that way they're nice and flat, and when I attach them, they're good to go. I think I'm gonna put maybe 1 or 2 rows here as well. We will just have to see how it goes today. This is what I did on the top. As you can see, I did some rows, and then on the side, I ended up doing one row, but I did do a little try on and I'm not happy with the fit, unfortunately. So I am going to be doing a second row, even though I really don't want to because it's going to take so much time. I think I'm going to have to do another row. I don't want to. Right here, my mind kind of just went blank as I was trying to figure out what to do. Here's the problem I'm having right now. I tried it on and I do not like the fit of it. I don't like the fit of it. It's just way too form fitted. I don't like that. I want something a little bit looser. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take the arm off. I don't like the fit of it. But again, I didn't know. I wasn't too sure until I had to put the arm on. So what I'm doing, I'm taking whatever I did, I'm taking it off, and I am going to add, I don't know, a bunch more rows on the side. But what I'm going to do to save time, like I'm not going to take it off up here. I'm just going to do a row and just continue it this way and then continue it back. And I think I'm going to have to do probably the same amount of rows as this in order for it to fit how I want it to fit me. I'm really not happy with how it fits right now, even though like, yeah, sure, it looks really wide, but when I try it on, it's not working out. And then also part of me just wants to make it into a vest, because that is how much I don't want to do this anymore. So that's the plan. This is what it's looking like right now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to be doing the ribbing on the cuffs and the ribbing for the neck. Now here's the thing. I don't know if I'm going to get to the ribbing on the bottom. Normally, I have all my projects done by the time I have to put the video out, but like I planned for this video to come out, and if it wasn't for the fact that I had to add here, had to add the sides, had to add the bottom, had to take it apart once or twice, put it back together, I would have been done. We're just gonna see how far I can get tonight before I fall asleep. But definitely cuffs first, and then we'll see the time. And if I'm confident that I can do the bottom ribbing, I will also do that today. Hopefully I have it done tomorrow.
The next day.
I crocheted so much yesterday. It was probably the most crocheting I've ever done in one sitting, and I did the bottom ribbing. I wasn't too sure I was gonna do it yet because it took a really long time. It took me 2 hours. 2 hours just for the bottom ribbing, but I did it. So today I will be working on the collar piece as well as hiding all the ends. And I don't even know if I'm going to hide all the ends. I might just hide the ends that are kind of visible. We'll have to see. I did all the ribbing on the bottom. It took me a really long time, and the cuffs are done. Now I have to work on the ribbing on the collar. Now here's the thing, I'm going to do something a little different that I've never done before, and that is I'm actually going to make the ribbing of the collar separate, and then I'm going to attach it, because normally I make it like right onto here, you know, the same way I make the ribbing on the bottom. I never really like how those collars turn out, so I'm actually going to make it separate and then attach it, and we'll see how it goes. If I don't like it, I'll take it off, I'll switch it out eventually. I want to try something different. And then also, as you can see, all these ends have to be woven, and like they have to be because they're just kind of like loosey-goosey, and the integrity of the granny square is not the best. I can't believe I actually like can see the finish line. I did it. I finished it. I finished the sweater. This was probably the most difficult project I have ever worked on because I'm basing it off an Animal Crossing character. I thought it'd be easy. I'll just make some squares, I'll just make some sleeves, I'll sew it together, and I'll have a sweater, not realizing all the problems that I had. But here we are. Here's the front, and then of course the back, which is the exact replica of the front. It took a really long time. It took longer than I would care to admit. I do think it's really cute. I am really glad what I did, those alterations that I made at the very last minute, that I'm like, this is either going to make or break the sweater, and I don't want it to be the same outcome as last year. Last year I ended up having to make a cardigan because the sweater idea that I originally planned out was an absolute fail, and I hated it so much. And then this is this is where it was going to. This project was like, I had high hopes, and then it just started going down, and then it kind of went up. I'm like, okay, we got this. And then it just plummeted, and now we're here. I did not think I was gonna get this project done for this video because I did not have another idea or anything else filmed for this Sunday's video. So I had to get it done, and if I didn't get it done, I would have been honest with y'all and let you know that I wasn't able to finish it, because at one point I was not going to do the bottom ribbing. I was like, I'll just leave it, say it's unfinished, and I'll finish it another day. But I spent 2 hours doing the ribbing on the bottom yesterday, and thank goodness I did, because it does look really cute, and I really do like this. So let's kind of like talk about it a bit. First off, the yarn. The main yarn was the Pound of Love from Lion's brand, and it's actually the color Cherry. I needed to buy 2 skeins of this red, even though one would have been enough, but I used a lot of it on my Demogorgon project, so I needed to buy another one. Pound of Love by Lion's brand. This is the first time using the red color. I've used the antique white, and I've used the black before as well, but it's always been like little tiny projects. The main color of this is like purple, like this one here. But then I would have a little bit of black for the house that was the Lion's brand, and same with the antique white. It was never a full project. So this being basically the first project that I did with mostly Lion's brand, I love it so much. It is a lot lighter than the Impeccable yarn that I'm always using. It's so soft, it is lighter, I don't feel very bulky, because it's crochet. It's gonna be bulky. It is what it is, right? Using this yarn in particular, it's so lightweight, like it doesn't feel like I'm wearing a crocheted item. This is what I can say about it. In total, it took me 25 hours to make. Now, the only reason that I was really kind of like rushing near the end is because I was making these granny squares, and I'm like, I got lots of time. What do I have to do after the granny squares? Make the sleeves and attach it. Not realizing I had to make more rows this way, more rows this way. And then as you can see, I made more rows this way, and it wasn't like, oh, I'll just do it. It was like, I kind of put some things together, and then I didn't like the fit, and then I had to take apart what I had just worked on and spent time doing, and then redo it essentially. I think that the time it took me to like do the math of it and like, how do I want it to fit me? How do I make it fit me the way I want to fit me? Was exhausting, and that's what took a lot of time and frustration. Here's how the colors all turned out. Again, like I had mentioned, I wouldn't pick some of the color combos, and I wouldn't put them in the certain places. Like this line, like right here, that's too much yellow. I wouldn't have done that. These 2 squares right here, they're too similar. I wouldn't have put them side by side. And then again, this square and this square, they're pretty much the exact same square, except the centers are different colors, but the different colors are so similar, they look like the same square. And then of course, these 2 squares up here are the ones that I made, just kind of like made up in my head with, following the same color scheme of like the yarn that I already had. And then this one here, looking at it, I think probably my favorite square is this one here. That's my favorite color combo. And my least favorite, I want to say it's like this one. I'm not the biggest fan of those colors together. What I ended up doing different for this project is this neck, which I've not done like this before. Usually what I'll do is I will crochet the neck right onto it, but then it creates this like, I don't know, it just stretches it out too much, and I don't like how it looks. I want it to look more like a turtleneck mock neck, and that's what I did for this. Do I have an example? This here is what I would normally do. I would crochet it right on to the sweater like I do the ribbing for the top and the bottom, but as you can see, I feel like this one really just stretches out, and it kind of like hugs my neck more than I would like it to, whereas this one, because I made it a little bit wider than my neck, it like goes around my neck nicely, and I don't feel like I'm going to get strangled. I will have to say, having that blocking board made things a lot easier while connecting the squares together. It cost me under $20 to do. What I'm very thankful for is, you know how sometimes I'll make a project, it just doesn't turn out the way I want it to, and I have to like redo things, such as this one. But the car sweater that I made, which is also over there, I just have all my sweaters there now, I had made this too short, and because of that, I had to like problem solve, and I ended up making the sleeves longer. So because I did that previously, when it came to this one and I realized that the width of the front and the back were the same as the car sweater, I knew I had to make the arms longer. So could you imagine my frustration if I would have put it all together and then I realized the arms were too short? That's why I make my notes. I will not be putting this pattern on Patreon because I was just making things up as they went along. I don't even know how I would start writing a pattern for this, is because it's all made up. I might be able, if you want, I could do maybe the colors I used for the granny squares, stuff like that. Maybe the sleeve length. I could like just, you know, have a photo and kind of doodle and draw what all the directions are. I think that would be a lot easier. If you want like a rough guide of what I did, I can do that, but I can't physically sit down and try to remember what I did here because I wrote some notes down. but then other times I didn't because I was tired and I wanted to get it done. Do I think I achieved my goal of making it look like the Animal Crossing sweater? Absolutely. I definitely think it looks like that sweater. It fits pretty cute, pretty good. I like it. It's what I envisioned it to be, and I'm so happy that it actually turned out good, because yesterday around the same time I was panicking so much that it was not gonna turn out the way I wanted it to. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. I think I did good. I think I achieved what I wanted. It's comfortable. I like it. I'm gonna wear it, but minusing a point because the hell it put me through. That will do it for my video. If you're new to my channel, like sewing, thrifting, crafting, and of course crocheting, why not hit the subscribe button? You can follow me on my Instagram, my TikTok, and of course my Patreon. I think that's it. So y'all have a good day now.